funding for this program was made possible by Burke Nursery and Garden Center in Burke, Virginia. Burke is a full-line garden center with trees and shrubs, perennials and annuals, water garden supplies, houseplants, bird supplies, and they have a propane refill station. Burke also provides the public with an October month-long festival featuring hay rides, mountain slides, merry-go-rounds, pony rides, and much, much more. For more information, check their website or phone 703-323-1188.
Okay, it's gardening time, folks. It's time to think about gardening and making your yard look beautiful. Hello and welcome to Gardening News and Views with Dr. John. I'm your host, and today I'm going to talk about some beautiful, colorful annuals right here. But I'm also going to talk about some books. Yes, I know, books. I did some last week and I'm going to do some today. And the reason I'm talking about these books is because they're very, very important. And I'm hoping that there's some young boys and young girls out there, maybe in high school, will get a copy of this show somehow, or I hope they're watching it because it's very important for them. All righty, let's take the plant of the week first of all. I have several plants of the week today. I got about 3 or 4 of them. One is a new sunflower that's been developed. Most sunflowers will get 6, 7, 8 feet tall. This is a cutie right here. Buy some of these here for your grandson and let him watch it grow. This will only reach 24 to 30 inches high. It needs to be in the sun. And as Joe picks up that, he can see the flower starting to form right now on that sunflower. Okay? It's the cutest little thing. Only gets about 24 inches high. And grandchildren like to plant sunflower seeds. Well, you go in the garden center. I got all these from Burke Garden Center, by the way. I'm going to set that down here. And on the second plant of the week is verbena. Verbena. And verbena is a great plant to use in window boxes or even hanging baskets. And they make a ground cover, too. I'm only showing you 3 here, but there's many, many more colors, okay? And it needs full sun, 6 to 12 inches tall. That's about how tall it'll get, 6 to 12 inches. Verbena, write that down. Look at how it spreads. See, some of them spread more than others. Beautiful. All right, I'm going to set those down here. Verbena, verbena, verbena. Likes the sunshine. It blooms all the way through the summer, all summer long. And the next one is gazania. All right? Gazania. Now this is an unusual plant. It's in the daisy family. I'm going to slide them all over here. The reason I call it unusual is because those rascals will fold up and go to sleep at night. They close right up. But look at the colors on these plants. They're annuals. They'll only get about 8 inches tall. And look, I'm tipping them so that you can see the actual color. And look at this one on the end. Isn't that gorgeous? All right? They're good in window boxes. They're good in planter boxes and so forth. And they close up in the evening. So, in fact, I had to keep them in the sun. I had them in the trunk of my car. And when I brought them home from Burke Nursery, and they were all closed up. So I had to put them in the sun this morning to make sure that they'd open up. Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that something else? And they'll make a nice cut flower. Now you've learned a nice new annual. Now I'll slide those over. And I have one more annual, and it's a salvia, red salvia. This here plant here, there's also several kinds of salvia, blue salvia and others. This is a very good annual to grow in your garden for if you want lots of color. All right? So now you've got some good annuals to look at and purchase someplace. I'm going to set these down here. I'm going to set these over here out of the way. There we are. Now, I'm going to go to something here that I talked about last week. But I think it's very important because I got 2 phone calls where people says, what was the name of that trap that you showed on television? All right. Some of you might have birdseed in your basement or birdseed in your utility room someplace. And if the bag is left open, you sometimes can get grain moths. And some of you know what grain moths are, but some may not. And these grain moths get in the birdseed, so make sure your birdseed is sealed tight in a metal or glass container. Sometimes if you have stuff stored in oatmeal or cornflakes or any of those cereals and so forth in the cupboard too long, you'll end up getting grain moths. And I'm going to open this one up and show you how well this works. There's no chemicals used in here. All right, you buy it. It's already put together. And in there is a little red pheromone. Whoop, there you are. It's a pheromone, okay? And that attracts these moths. I'm going to hold it steady so you can pick that up really good. And look at all of them that caught right there. This was because somebody had birdseed in their basement, and they had it in a bag, and it was there for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it got these moths in it, okay? And they'll fly around in your house. If you put this within 10 feet of the area, they'll go right to it, and that's the end of them. Pick it up at your garden centers, called the Pantry Pest Trap. Enough said on that. Some of you may have a deck or a porch around your house someplace and have wooden structures. All right, there's a creature called the carpenter bee. I'm going to set him right up there. A carpenter bee. All right, this carpenter bee is a strange character. What it does, it will not drill holes in the top, not drill holes in the side. It drills holes on the bottom of your 2x4 or 2x6. See those holes in there? And you say, well, what do they do when they drill that hole? It's just the female bee is looking for a place to lay eggs. Now here's what she'll do. She digs, I'm going to point it with a pencil, it's better. She drills into there like this, and drills up, and then goes in a lateral direction like this, and lays an egg. And then she takes the saliva and the sawdust, and she builds up a little wall like this, lays another egg, takes some more sawdust and saliva and builds another wall, another egg, another wall, another egg, and another wall. Now guess what? In about 3 weeks after that, the first wall breaks down and out comes the bee. You'd think it would be the one that she laid first? No, it's in total reverse. The last egg laid is the first one to hatch. Breaks the wall down. Next one breaks the wall down, breaks the wall down. Same way over here. See how they breaks the wall down and out they come. And they can ruin a wooden porch railing. So what do? 7, S-E-V-I-N, S-E-V-I-N. Take 7 and this trigger sprayer and spray it in there like that, or get the powder and paste it in there, make it a little wet and paste it in there like you're trying to fill the holes. 7 is detrimental to bees. And it's so detrimental to bees that if you have an orchard, an apple, peaches, cherries, or even strawberries, don't spray the orchard when the bees are out there working, because 7 is what they use to spray a lot of insects, but don't spray it where the bees are doing their job pollinating. But the carpenter bee, we don't want him, okay? Enough said on that. Carpenter bee. All right. Now, I talked about this last week. And like I said, I got a couple of phone calls. People said, what were the name of those books, too? This book, let me take a second look at the camera and tell you something. Folks, your children, you want them to go to college. And I want all of my children to go to college. I raised 9 of them, my wife and I. And yes, they went to college. And I'm not saying your children shouldn't go to college. But if by chance they don't go to college and they want a good career, landscaping world is a wonderful world to be into. Although you should go to college for that. But you can do it yourself at home, many of it, by give them a book like this for Christmas or birthday, okay? This book right here. Insects. Pick it up, Joe. Okay? This has every single insect that will bother your shrubs, your plants, and your flowers in your yard. And they're in full color. As I showed you last week, there they are. There's the one that bothers the rose right there. And I even have the control written on the top up here. See that caterpillar eating up that rose? All right, this goes all the way through here, page after page after page of the scales, the caterpillars, the earwigs, the tent caterpillars. This book is valuable. And if a young man or young lady were to take a book like this and study it every day and look at it, she can go out onto the job and say, oh, I know what's wrong with your plant. It's got box elder bugs. And then show the customer that picture. Okay? And you landscapers out there that don't have this book, you should have it. So when you're looking at somebody's yard and you see that scale, you say, show it to the customer. There's a scale you got, and here's what you use to control it. That's the one on insects. And here's the one on diseases. Of course, I've cheated. I've had it all. When I had all names right in there. But there's an index in here that tells it all. This is all the different diseases that can possibly bother your trees, your shrubs, your petunia, your marigolds, your geraniums, your azaleas, whatever it may be. there's a common one right there. Goes on and on. Insects and diseases. These books, I have a whole stack of them here. I'm not going to go through all of these, but I want to tell you, if you had these books at home, and homeowners should have these too, but you young men and young ladies out there, what a career you could have by having a book like this. It's Garden Experts by Dr. I can't pronounce that name, but you can see it right there, okay? Joe, pick it up real good, and I'll hold it for a minute. He has a whole list of these books. Now I'm going to just kind of flip through here. It's easy. This goes on and shows page after page after page of how to build various gardens, how to make them and so forth. It goes on and on and on. And it even lists all the different plants and so forth. Look at the plants, all right? That's one, and this one, oh, look at here, look at that. Isn't that something? This one here is Garden Experts. A lawn expert. I can't imagine anybody who does a lawn business doesn't have a book like this. But look at here. It goes, tells you all the different weeds and how to control them. Page after page of the different kind of grasses. All the tools you need to go into business if you had to, young men, young ladies out there. All right? Tells you all the different kind of tools you might need. Tells you how to use the tools. Look at that. Different lawnmowers, aerators, and so forth. Goes on and on here. And then here we go. Here's the insects. Look at that. How about that? How could you not have this book, young men, young ladies out there who want to get into this business? If you just studied this book every day, read a little page and so forth. Go to your garden center and hang around and read labels on bottles. And if you haven't got a chance to go to college, you can still survive right here with this. Herbs and vegetables. Isn't this something? I love these books. Look at this one here. All the things that can happen to tomatoes and peppers and so forth. The various diseases that they get. There we go. Tells you all the different kinds of tomatoes, the different kinds of corn, different kinds of lettuce, peppers. Goes on. And this is, what's that? Oh, that's potatoes. Potatoes are different kind of things that bother potatoes and how to make them grow good. Lime tomatoes and never lime potatoes. Don't lime potatoes. Goes on and beans and so forth. Isn't this some kind of a book? I can't imagine anyone who wants to get into the gardening world wouldn't have some of these books. Let me see this one here. Oh, here. Trees and Shrub Expert. All right. Different kind of trees, the good trees and the bad trees, trees that cause a problem, different shapes of plants and so forth. Isn't that something? Look at that page. There's uprights, columnar ones, low-growing ones. This happens to be the hemlocks, yes. And here's the taxus. All the different types of taxus. The kinds of plants that I've been showing here right on my show. Look at the conifers. Look at that. Isn't that something? Wonderful books. I'm going to just set, one more, and then I'm going to get on with some more of my show here. This is bedding plants. These plants that I've just got through showing you right here, the viburnum and salvia. All right, here we are. It tells you what the colors are available in a hibiscus. All the colors. When does it bloom? And then the cultivars that are available. Here's the gazania. These are plants that I just showed you right here. There's the name, how you spell it. There's the colors that are available. That's when it blooms. Tells you about it and gives you a photograph of it besides. all the way through here, page after page of the annuals. Okay, it's a wonderful book to have. Dianthus, when it blooms, when does it bloom, when does it bloom? See? All right, beautiful, beautiful book. Not only that, in the back of the book, it'll say, pick up that, Joe, troubles. If you have troubles with some of your annuals, what's bothering them? Is it bugs or disease, too much water, not enough water, planted in the shade when they should have been in the sun, etc., etc., etc. And then they even show you pictures. How could you possibly survive if you had I'm going to set these up one after the other and let Joe pick it up. There's one. There's another. There's another. Oh, I didn't show this one. This is a great one. Flowering shrubs. Oh, yeah. That's a good one. Flowering shrubs. Lawn expert. Fruit expert. I'll put it up there. There you go. The fruit expert. Some of you might want to get a little orchard going. And the tree expert. And vegetable expert. And the garden expert. Wonderful books. I want to show this one more here. Fruit. Look at this fruit one. Woo, woo. Tells all the different fruits. How about that? Blackberries, raspberries, and so forth. Enough said on that. Carry on. These books are wonderful. Like I said before, somebody asked me, John, how come you can know what to reach for and all that when somebody comes in with a problem? Well, you know, when I was working at Merrifield Garden Center, and I've worked at Burke too lots of times, and I've been around quite a while, I would pick up labels. I would be in the garden center, and I would pick up a bottle, and I would read the label. What does this do? During my lunchtime, and I would read that label all during lunch, and by the time lunch was over, I knew what that product was. I would take bottle after bottle to lunch with me and read them. And if any of you young men, young ladies get a job in a garden center someplace, do that at your lunchtime. Take a bottle right off the shelf and say, I'll be back in an hour, and read. What does copper do? I don't know. I'm going to eat my sandwich, and I'm going to find out what copper does. And I'll eat my lunch, and I'll read all about how great this is. And then somebody comes in with some diseases on their vegetables and so forth. You say, I know what to use. Copper. Okay. There we are. Well, now I think I'll slide my chart over here to talk about some other things. Boy, that's a beautiful plant. Let me slide my chart over here. I'm not going to go through all of these, but I'm going to go through, let's go over the Japanese beetles will be coming up pretty soon. Let's talk about them for a moment. In the spring, in March and April, March particularly, the Japanese beetle eggs or grubs are down here in the soil, and they're breeding in here like this. And the beetle lays digs a trap like that, or the mole does rather. The mole builds a trap, and the moles live down in here, okay? And they come up and they eat the grubs. Where do they get the grubs? The grubs during March and April are in the soil about 4 or 5 inches deep, and they come up when the sun warms the earth in April. And they feel the heat of the sun, and they start eating the roots of the grass. And then during May, they eat the roots of the grass. And then late May, they're still eating, and then they stop. And they change their metamorphosis, and they come out as a beetle. And if they fly around and eat your roses and eat your flowers. And they fly around during the month of June and July. And then if you're a male beetle, your only job is to look for a female to do whatever you want to do, okay? And then the female lays, after 30 or 45 days of flying around eating, and she lays about 40 or 60 eggs in the soil. She burrows down and lays those eggs. And those eggs hatch. She dies after that. And the male, he died right after he did whatever he had to do, you know? Okay, it's a tough life for the male. All right, and then this grub comes up like this and eats the roots of your grass during August and September and October. And then when it gets cold, it burrows down, way down in here and waits till spring. All right, the moles come out and they eat the grubs. However, in the meantime, in the spring, right about now, in fact, in another few weeks, you're going to see this beetle come out eating. And you can spray them. Spray them with well, go in your garden center and ask. There's so many different products that will take care of them. But I want you to know what's going on. And for the moles, there's several ways to kill moles. Most of it is with a smell, a castor oil mix, okay? And that'll take care of them. I'm not going to mention chemicals to kill all these things right now. Let's see, what else did I want to show on this thing quickly today? Ah, yes, page 19. Quickly. No, MCPP, dicamba. Here it is. There is a weed killer out on the market today that is very, very safe to use, and it will kill wild clover, it'll kill wild strawberries, wild violet, plus all the dandelions and all the rest. All right, and that happens to be that triclopyr, was developed in 1973. It is toxic to fish, so if you're living near an area where the lake is or a pond or something, don't go near that. All right. Not toxic to animals, which is nice to know. It's very rapid action. It's absorbed into the leaves and the roots very fast, and only needs 4 rain-free hours to be doing the job it's supposed to do. All right. It has a half-life in about 46 days. It treats the young active weeds, can be applied to tree stumps to kill tree stumps after you cut the tree down. It'll do that. Very few weed killers will do that. All right? And it can be mixed with an herbicide or a fertilizer. Soap and water cleanup. That is excellent. Write that down on a piece of paper, folks. Remember, when you walk into your garden center and you're grabbing a weed killer, does it have that word on it? If it don't buy it. Well, I shouldn't say that. But it's going to do the job. But also, here's another weed killer, the word dicamba. That will do a great job on weeds. However, do not soak or treat your lawn more than once a year with this chemical that has dicamba in it, because it bothers the tree roots, okay? So be very careful with that. It quickly enters the plant, acts as a growth inhibitor, very mobile, can leach into the roots of the trees very fast. I know of a gentleman down the street who used dicamba on this weed killer all the time because he was told it kills lots of weeds. It does kill a lot of weeds, but his dogwood died because he kept using it 2 or 3 or 4 times. You can't do that. All right? Enough said on that. All right. Let's see what else I'm going to talk about here. Oh, okay. Let's go with page 8. All righty. I got about 2 minutes, so I'm going to cover this fast. There's chemical fertilizers on the market with all kind of crazy numbers, okay? 20-20-20, 30-00, 00-50. Chemical fertilizers, you can change any number you want. They're fast-acting. They will burn the roots if you don't water after you've fertilized. But at any rate, you can get any number you want. The first number is for top growth. So look at the top growth you'll get here. And look at the top growth. The second number is for root development. All right? You get good root development, and for stem and for flower development. So that's the best one if you want flowers. That's the best one if you want growth only, okay? And this one here is for health. The last number is potash. You can get any number you want in the chemicals. But in organic fertilizers, you can't. Cottonseed meal has that formula. I don't care whose cottonseed it is, whether it's South Carolina, North Carolina. You can't get only a 6-2-1. Bone meal, my bones, dog's bones, anybody's bones. It's a 0-12-0. Blood meal, my blood or anybody's blood is a 12% 0-0. All right? Fish meal.